For those of you who are not familiar with the Mud Buddies SMP or Ruby 525, this whole cave was built for the Mud Buddies SMP storyline to show that there was a great race that came before us and had to also defeat the force of evil that was trying to take over our world. It started out with a concept of having the end portal floating in the middle of a large cavernous room that was full of different things to represent the storyline, but it soon evolved into something much more sinister to show that there was more to the story than the characters had thought. So that is when we came up with the idea of a dragon skull to show that there were once dragons in the overworld. Alongside of the dragon skull, you'll find remnants that show that there was a great plague amongst this world. Glowing mushrooms, lichen, caves, and some very particular mushrooms that pertain specifically to the enemy in our series. After about 3 weeks of building, the cave was finally starting to come together and the concept was becoming a lot more clear. I had started to develop the storyline that actually related to it, and if you want to see all of that, you're more than welcome to watch the videos that are linked in both the description and you'll see in the top right corner of your screen. I will give a little warning / disclaimer. Those videos are very old and they were before I had a proper setup, and so their quality is not quite as close to what I have now. But if you are, willing to get over that, the storyline underneath is quite interesting. Unfortunately, the Mud Buddies series has been postponed because one of our members' computers is completely broken and we cannot move forward without her. But I really wanted to share our process of building this, and it was one of the first major builds I've ever attempted without planning it out completely in a separate world first. The entire end dungeon was rated in survival prior to us beginning to renovate it in creative, purely because we wanted that end experience, even though it wasn't shown on camera. If you guys have any questions, leave them in the comments below and I will do my best to answer them. But from this forward on in the video, it is going to be an explanation of the lore behind this cave. Imagine if your world as you know it has completely changed. The friends you thought you once knew are acting not like themselves. They're wandering around and finding things in places where they don't belong. A mysterious stranger has appeared in the forest and she's giving you tasks to complete for her, whilst also talking to whoever's in her head. Mushrooms have begun sprouting out all over the server. You try to dig them up, and yet more always take their place. 3 of you are starting to realize that this is not right, that something is very wrong and it is starting to affect one of your friends. Time passes and it becomes worse, and it becomes clear that you are going to have to start looking for another way out. And so, you and your friends set forth to look for the end portal, something fabled, only known through myth. But you're desperate enough to believe that possibly it could solve all of your problems, if only you could find it before it is too late, before your minds are also taken by the malicious force that is causing your friend harm. Whether destiny or just a string of fate, you find the end dungeon, but it is not what you expect. It matches none of the fables you've heard. Attached and you only to one of the walls of what seems like prison cells, you find 3091. What is it to do life? I have been here so long that I've forgotten what it is to show symptoms, and that was that. What is joy without life? Life without joy. What is it to live without meaning? What is meaning? What is the meaning of meaning? What is? As we traveled deeper into the dungeons, we found what seemed to have been a solved puzzle, and with it, another journal, a record of someone who had come before us and cleared the path. Year 115. I have spent many of my travels searching for the thing that could save my race. It is with these last breaths that I realize I am too late. I have possibly found the key to opening our world once more, and yet no one is left to retrieve it. When we discovered the scourge of this land, we first attempted to stop it. But what good is it to recount the past? It took 3 moons to trigger the door. Each represents a biome, each an item that balances the forces of this world. Once the final item was placed, the door was opened, but I am too late. The strength has been sapped from my body. The skull of the dragon itself is enough to ward me away from what stands between us and home. It doesn't resemble the portal that brought us, nor are there marks from my people. I have not forgotten my promise, and I hope that they have summoned the strength to follow my steps. Perhaps only then may there be hope. We made mistakes, leaving our lands, greedily wanting more, and instead unleashing something terrible. We never should have come to this new world. You and your friends make your way down the stairs, and you are met with a terrifying yet breathtaking sight. A dragon's skull, covered in moss and lichen, sits on a platform that hangs from the ceilings with netherite chains. Mushrooms and geodes and all sort of fantastical nature have taken over the cave, leaving it in a wild state. But within the jaws of the great beast, you find the end portal. Without another moment, you jump in, hoping that it will be enough to save everybody you love.